It's basically saying he's not allowed to sue and defend himself because I'm a victim. This is absurd to use that as a way to stand up for all victims. I'm sickened by the lengths she will go to, as was Brian Friedman, who responded very well, I have to add, that there was no SH.
Blake Lively breaks down after Justin's lawyer dropped a huge update in the lawsuit. And yes, it's about her beloved haircare brand. You know, the same one she tried to launch alongside her liquor brand while hijacking a movie about domestic abuse for promo.
She's a mean girl, she's nasty, she's hawking liquor and hair care products.
It might have looked like a smart move at first, but it crashed harder than her PR team could clean up. And now, Brian Friedman just connected that shampoo disaster to her tone-deaf mess of a year. And the new findings are honestly insane. She thought it would be smart to launch her overpriced shampoo just 5 days before It Ends With Us hit theaters. Because yeah, nothing says domestic violence awareness like forcing people to buy a $180 conditioner.
But I'm just like, it's not worth it. I'm returning every single one of her products because none of them are good. And I think all of her products in total were like $160 or $180.
People were already side-eyeing the way she was promoting the movie, and throwing a random hair brand into the mix just made everything 10 times worse. Critics had an absolute field day.
Blake Brown line from Blake Lively, and I almost didn't even make this video because I'm honestly so embarrassed that I got it anyway, and I got it like the day before everything broke, so this doesn't even have to do with the drama.
TikTok started roasting her messy, fried hair from the movie, and trust me, they didn't hold back. Some said she looked like she got hit by every branch falling out of a Florida hurricane, while others joked her hair had the same energy as someone who rolled backwards down a sand dune.
This is some of the worst products that I've ever used on my hair.
Definitely not the kind of free advertisement you want when you're begging people to trust you with their split ends. And when real reviews of Blake Brown finally dropped, it somehow got even uglier.
And when I tell you that my hair has never felt so unhealthy in my entire life, like what did she put in this thing?
People who dropped $160 to $180 on the full line weren't just disappointed. They were straight up furious. Apparently, the products promised to nourish and hydrate, but customers said their hair came out drier than a 3-day-old bagel.
I'm telling you right now, my hair has never been this dry in my life, and it's not just the ends. I've heard some people say it's at the ends, it's at the ends, it's at the top, it's all of it.
Some even said their hair had never looked or felt worse in their entire lives. It got so bad that Targets across the country started seeing waves of returns, like literal shampoo refugees trying to escape the disaster. And you'd think at this point Blake would take a second to maybe breathe, apologize, or pretend she cared.
So people have been making a lot of TikToks about it, saying Blake using It Ends With Us movie to promote her hair brand, meanwhile looking like this in every scene. Blake's hair in It Ends With Us be like Blake Lively's hair in It Ends With Us while she's using this movie to promote her hair brand.
But no, she did what every panicking celebrity does and doubled down. Suddenly, there were desperate sales popping up like buy one, get one 50% off, like she was running a Black Friday sale on broken promises.
Blake Brown Beauty. Buy one, get a second for only 50% off, guys. Now, look, I know I'm sort of promoting this deal. She's probably hoping, but I promoted in that it looks like you're doing okay business-wise, Blake.
Online, she tried to spin it like everything was going amazing, champagne-popping levels of success, but behind the scenes, the flood of returns and customer complaints told a story way messier than her hair in that awful trailer. It was so clear she was losing the plot, and fast.
She's now advertising and has all these people showing off her Blake Brown hair care products, where she talks about, oh, that's a anyway. 7 years I've spent on this hair care line that apparently was destroyed by Justin.
But the real mess wasn't even about the shampoo. The timing of the Blake Brown launch just completely exposed how little she actually cared about the cause It Ends With Us was supposed to support.
She's a mean girl, she's nasty, she's hawking liquor and hair care products for a domestic violence movie, saying it wasn't about domestic violence.
The whole point of the movie was to highlight domestic violence survivors, and instead, Blake hijacked the entire press tour to talk about her stupid hair masks and her side hustle liquor brand. Survivors who were expecting serious conversations about abuse got treated to cocktail recipes and hair serum tutorials instead. It was so tone deaf it almost felt like a prank. except nobody was laughing.
Instead of focusing on the issues, she was so rude throughout anybody who asked about it. She didn't want to talk about it. And then she just blamed Sony. Well, that wasn't the plan, girl.
And when the backlash hit her like a truck, Blake didn't even try to take responsibility. She instantly pointed fingers at Sony Pictures, basically blaming everyone but her dog for the disaster.
You took over the marketing. Maximum Effort took over the marketing. Sony was just doing whatever you asked because you wouldn't do anything unless you kept getting your demands. And now you're going to blame them and everybody else when that failed.
But insiders quickly spilled that Blake herself had taken over the marketing through her company, Maximum Effort. She called the shots. She planned the campaigns. She chose to promote shampoo and vodka instead of standing up for real victims.
As the comments were just ripping these videos up saying, why is she just making everyone's hair frizzy? Like, I can spend $0 and just not brush my hair when I wake up. I've never once looked at her and thought I need her hair care routine.
And when the house she built caught fire, she tried to pretend she was just an innocent bystander watching it all burn.
My hair looks like this after a sweat sesh at the gym. And as some time has passed, the reviews are rolling in from people who have actually purchased the products, and things aren't looking the best for Blake.
Guess what I'm returning? Every single one of Blake Brown's hair care products.
And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, survivors themselves started speaking up. They said they felt used, and not in the thanks for your service kind of way. They were furious that Blake took their stories, their pain, and basically tried to slap a $50 hair serum sticker on top of it. It was messy. It was greedy. It was downright damaging.
They do not like them. A lot of them are saying that the fragrances are really interesting, which like totally vibes. I feel like she looks like a girl who has really good smelling hair. But I want to talk about how all of these images are not marketing the actual product, they're marketing Blake. This is not the shot of strong, beautiful hair that I would want to see.
And of course, Blake's legal team is clinging to California's brand new Section 47.1 law like it's the last life raft on the Titanic. This law, which went into effect on January 1st, 2025, was actually created to protect real victims of harassment and abuse from getting steamrolled by expensive lawsuits.
And I do not think that these images are achieving that goal.
You know, actual survivors facing real danger, not celebrities having a bad press week. But leave it to Blake to twist it into something so ridiculous. Even seasoned lawyers and survivors are sitting there blinking like, is this actually happening?
She's still using real victims of SH real abuse because he called her sexy and because a dude looked her in the eyes while inviting him in to talk to him while she's breastfeeding. Like, it's crazy.
In court documents filed by her attorneys Mike Golub and Ezra Hudson, Blake is seriously trying to argue that being called sexy and getting looked at while breastfeeding her kid counts as harassment.
But you didn't do okay. The movie did okay. You got the backlash for what you chose to do.
That's her entire claim. No assault, no threats, no real danger. Just a couple of vague incidents stretched thinner than one of her hair masks. She's basically trying to turn side eyes into federal offenses.
Fully believe this, and it's disgusting to see she's still using real victims of SH real abuse because he called her sexy.
Brian Friedman, who honestly deserves an award at this point, immediately tore this nonsense apart. In a statement to TMZ on March 28, 2025, he didn't even bother being polite about it.
Clearly, they want to divert the public's attention from the receipts, the actual documents, video footage, and additional evidence shown that make it irrefutable that there was no SH.
He made it crystal clear that Section 47.1 wasn't created for rich Hollywood millionaires looking to dodge criticism. It was for real survivors who actually needed protection, not for Blake to play victim every time someone made a TikTok about her fried hair.
Focusing instead on her hair care and alcohol products, which at the time caused the organic backlash that she received. She does not need discovery to find out who smeared her. Just a mirror will do.
And it didn't stop there, because legal expert Ron Zbrano hopped onto Popcorn Planet the very next day and basically said, Blake girl, you're about to make history, just not the way you think. Section 47.1 is so fresh that no court has even interpreted it yet.
Oh my God, that is an amazing clapback. It is so spot on. That is exactly what this case is about. She refuses to take any accountability for what she actually did do, which was promote her alcohol brand, her hair care brand, instead of focusing on the issues.
If Blake keeps pushing this fantasy, there's a real chance it could end up straight at the Supreme Court. Definitely not the kind of headline her PR team had on the vision board. When you strip away all the fancy legal words, the issue couldn't be more obvious.
You can talk about ball busting with teeth and all, and you can say all the stuff you can do. But then as you open up this environment that you declare a safe space, as soon as he says things similar to what you do, USH me, USH me.
Blake's team is twisting a law that's supposed to protect survivors into a shield to block Justin Baldoni from defending himself. And everyone with 2 brain cells to rub together can see it. Advocacy groups are already panicking behind the scenes, worried that Blake's little stunt is going to make it harder for real victims to ever get taken seriously again.
Here's what Blake Lively's team is declaring, okay? Blake's attorneys, Mike Goltub and Ezra Hudson, tell TMZ. That's right, Justin Baldoni, the man who has built his brand on supposedly speaking up for victims, believes that the First Amendment rights of victims of SA and harassment to speak out should give way to the rights of perpetrators to sue their victims into oblivion.
But if you thought Blake's legal arguments were bad, wait until you hear about her so-called evidence. Brian Friedman wasted no time ripping that apart, too. After the court filings got unsealed, he dropped what might be the most savage line of the entire case. She doesn't need discovery to find out who smeared her. Just a mirror will do. And honestly, where's the lie?
You can do, but then as you open up this environment that you declare a safe space, as soon as he says things similar to what you do, USH me, USH me, and now you are trying to defend yourself, so how dare you to silence victims? It is truly, truly sickening.
Because when you actually look at what Blake's team filed, it's laughable. No leaked emails, no proof of secret payments, no mastermind group chats plotting her downfall. Just a sad pile of out-of-context texts that prove absolutely nothing, except maybe that Blake needs better friends.
Mandatory word. So anyway, this is clearly a big deal. And this is such a big deal that, this is much more complicated than Blake wants to do. She's trying to use this as sort of I'm going to stand up for all victims, so you're going to rule in my favor, and therefore all other victims will be protected.
Instead of showing real evidence, her legal team stuffed the filings with buzzwords like smear, retaliation, and digital army, hoping if they threw enough dramatic words around, people would stop asking for facts.
Well, she won that confidentiality order, and I said, and I warned, just as Brian did in that courtroom, this is going to open up to a lot of silliness. A lot of things that Blake's team is going to try to use to make a lot of stuff seem secret, confidential.
And it's not just what they filed, it's how they filed it. Blake's legal documents don't even read like a real lawsuit. They sound more like a bad influencer trying to get brand sympathy after a messy breakup. Emotional sob stories everywhere, but actual receipts? Nowhere to be found.
This was filed also on Friday, not a lot of people talking about it. She's already out there declaring confidential requests for anything representing her Blake Brown beauty products.
But here's the thing. Courtrooms don't care about influencer tires. Judges want emails, contracts, cold hard evidence. And according to basically every legal expert breathing oxygen right now, discovery is coming.
Blake Brown, it's confidential. Trade secrets. We must protect the confidentiality here of this. What?
Real discovery, meaning both sides are about to be forced to hand over every email, text, and contract connected to this mess. Witnesses will have to testify under oath, and no amount of Blake's dramatic hashtag activism is going to save her if she can't cough up real proof.
What international celebrities are in cahoots with Blake Brown?
And the cherry on top? Justin Baldoni's team is apparently sitting there sharpening their knives. According to Andy Signor on April 4th, 2025, Justin's lawyers are so confident that Blake's stunt is going to backfire that they're already prepping for possible sanctions. Sanctions, as in not only losing the case, but getting slapped with penalties for wasting everyone's time.
What I love is the fact that she's demanding confidentiality for this, but at the same time declaring that sales plummeted because of the smear campaign. Well, then how can you say it's all confidential?
Meanwhile, Blake's carefully crafted PR fantasy is crumbling in real time. TMZ, Law and Crime, and Popcorn Planet are all roasting her for trying to hide behind survivor protections while selling shampoo and cocktails. Every time she files something new, it somehow makes her look worse. It's honestly impressive at this point.
We gotta actually now go see if sales plummeted because of the backlash. We now need, and Justin had anything to do with that. Let's actually look at your sales. Let's actually open them up. You made this part of the case, Blake.
And just when you think it couldn't get more embarrassing, Ryan Reynolds' name pops up right on schedule. Turns out, affidavits filed on March 30th, 2025 show Ryan was out there months before Blake even filed her lawsuit. telling executives that Justin was a predator. So basically, the same people screaming smear campaign were the ones who lit the first match.
People turned on her on the internet, and actually people already didn't like her for a long time because she was too damn old to play Lily in the movie. And she looked a hot-ass mess with those outfits on.
If anything, the evidence points straight at Blake and Ryan being the ones who weaponized gossip and rumors first, not Justin. And that makes Blake's attempt to hide behind survivor laws even more ridiculous.
Has pushed him away, and this is his movie. We've seen him speak with passion and speak with empathy about this, and he's the only one still talking about domestic violence and what's important for this movie.
On March 29, 2025, Blake's legal team filed a motion basically begging the court to keep anything involving Blake Brown locked up tighter than the crown jewels. They argued that her beauty brand's business structure, marketing plans, and even basic sales data were sensitive trade secrets that absolutely had to be kept hidden, because obviously, the entire beauty industry is just dying to steal her flop playbook.
While the rest of y'all are sitting around kissing Blake's behind, while she just goes on and on and on and on about whatever nonsense that pops in her head at the moment. She can't even make a coherent sentence. Or if she does, she's usually telling on herself.
But while Blake was busy guarding her haircare secrets like they were national security, she had zero issue throwing other people's private lives straight into the shredder when it suited her. Back in February 2025, during a motion against Jed Wallace, her team casually filed documents that included Jed's confidential medical records. You know, private stuff about hospitalizations and serious health issues that had absolutely nothing to do with her harassment claims against Justin Baldoni.
Justin and his lawyer, Brian Friedman, are so hell-bent on destroying Blake, they're trying to shed a law meant to protect victims and send a chilling effect to others from speaking out. Stop lying.
And because Blake's lawyers clearly thought, go big or go home, they didn't stop there. That same month, they filed documents that straight up exposed the home addresses of Justin's PR staff. Like fully visible, no redactions, here's where they live. Have fun, stalkers. It was so reckless that even court clerks were reportedly whispering about it behind the scenes.
Friedman, of course, sees it exactly the opposite way, telling us Miss Lively and her circle of Hollywood elites cannot prevent my client from exercising their constitutional right to petition the court to clear their names from her false and harmful claims.
Of course, once they realized they screwed up, Blake's team sprinted to file emergency motions to seal everything. But the damage was already done, and the double standard could not have been more obvious. Blake was demanding that her shampoo sales numbers be treated like they were nuclear codes, but had zero problem tossing other people's most personal information into public court records like it was no big deal.
She is an absolute abomination, this woman. Real victims, okay? I know real victims. My mother is a real victim of sexual assault.
Critics went off. Just like Amber, Blake was now getting slammed for using confidential info like a weapon when it helped her, and crying about safety when it didn't.
So sitting up here and acting like Justin Baldoni is victim shaming, victim blaming, or he doesn't want to believe all women. No, just because we were born with vaginas like yourself doesn't mean we have to believe you.
And the backlash spread faster than one of Blake's hair serum disasters. Legal commentators, survivor advocates, even casual gossip blogs, everyone started calling out her hypocrisy. People who had once defended her early on were now quietly backing away like, yeah, we don't know her.
You don't have evidence. You don't have a case, and you know it. You know the only things that you're putting out in these motions and these filings are just PR spin, because you even looking at Jed Wallace, your response to him, you didn't even have any evidence to support.
Even celebrity-friendly outlets like Entertainment Weekly stopped writing their usual sugar-coated puff pieces and started running brutal headlines about all the messy receipts Blake herself put out there. And just when you think it can't get more pathetic, it somehow does. Because Blake's legal team didn't just fumble privacy. They turned filing paperwork into a national joke.
And what's wild is there's now like 800 pages of this response to Jed Wallace. Now, full disclosure, a lot of that is because they're trying to port it over from Texas to New York.
On March 19th, 2025, Blake's lawyers dumped an absolutely insane 800-page filing on the court, trying to move the case from Texas to New York. And no, it wasn't 800 pages of hard-hitting evidence. It was endless reprints of exhibits, boilerplate nonsense, recycled affidavits, and the legal version of someone panicking and copying random homework answers the night before an exam.
But still, it's way too much to drown into. Kudos to the Court of Random Opinion who actually, I guess, read it all. You are a true icon.
Buried somewhere in that giant landfill of paper was one actual bombshell. And it wasn't even in Blake's favor. Turns out, Jed Wallace's health completely tanked because of the stress Blake's lawsuit caused. In a sworn statement, he detailed how the emotional strain landed him in the hospital in November 2024, with doctors directly blaming prolonged emotional distress linked to her lawsuit. So instead of making herself look like a victim, Blake accidentally filed proof that she was literally making people sick.
They reveal that Jed Wallace has been, serious medical issues. Confidential medical information regarding the hospitalization he experienced due to health condition, which was worsened by the stress.
And even with that emotional grenade buried inside, the 800 pages still didn't manage to cough up a single piece of solid proof against Justin Baldoni. No secret payments, no shady meetings, just screenshots of random social media posts from bored users dragging Blake's haircare brand. Not exactly the organized smear campaign she keeps screaming about.
We muted, we did, call this out because, as Kim noted too, this is very likely a HIPAA violation.
Everyone saw right through it. Legal experts, court reporters, even random Reddit users were clowning her. Blake's 800-page dumpster fire went viral on Reddit's RR Law, with one savage commenter writing, "Imagine handing in a 20,000-word essay and realizing you still failed because you didn't answer the question." And honestly, they weren't wrong.
And so the hair care line needs to be protected, but Jed's medical information didn't. You can keep stressing him out on something that he's sworn through the court of law that he didn't do. And now you're going to reveal all that. Same thing she did when she revealed Justin's PR people's home addresses, which she had no qualm doing.
Even mainstream outlets like Variety and Deadline started piling on. In one absolutely brutal review on March 23, 2025, a Variety analyst said Blake's filing was the legal equivalent of bringing a giant inflatable unicorn to a gunfight. And honestly, after seeing the mess they filed, that might have been generous.
But Blake's hair care line, Judge, it's very important we get that protected because, all the international celebrities and trade secrets, no one's looking for the ingredients of your damn shampoo, girl.
The damage was done. Between her embarrassing double standards on privacy and the 800-page disaster that proved absolutely nothing, Blake's legal credibility crashed harder than her shampoo sales. And with discovery hearings coming up fast in May 2025, she's running out of time, running out of allies, and definitely running out of bad hair jokes to hide behind.
They want to know what are the sales and what happened, but she's going to try to do these shenanigans because she won that order, and now this is confidential, Judge. This is the trade secrets we talked about previously.
Blake Lively's latest stunt in court reads more like a bad Hollywood thriller than anything close to a serious lawsuit. In filings submitted on March 25, 2025, Blake's lawyers accused marketing consultant Jed Wallace of being the mastermind behind what they're now calling a clandestine digital army. Basically, a secret squad of online agents hired to destroy her reputation like some budget spy movie. The problem? Jed Wallace didn't just deny it, he dismantled the whole fantasy under oath.
Give me a break. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. It's disgusting. Disgusting what she's resorting to. Now using victims to try to get away with it, and then declare confidential declarants for my hair care line. Oh, but I suffered so much damage, so I want to talk about it, but we don't really get to talk about the details.
In a sworn affidavit filed on March 19, 2025, Wallace made it painfully clear he had never published, directed, or even interacted with any content about Blake Lively, good or bad. Good or bad. His job, according to the court documents, was strictly passive, just monitoring public social media trends for Justin Baldoni's film team. From August 2024 onward, all Wallace did was quietly read Reddit threads and TikTok comments. No posts, no campaigns, no contact with Blake whatsoever.
And then completely throwing all these other people under the bus and not protecting their privacy.
And the timeline makes Blake look even worse. Emails filed on March 22, 2025, showed that public backlash against Blake's haircare brand and movie had already exploded by June 2020, months before Wallace even entered the picture. People were roasting her messy marketing all on their own. No secret agent needed.
Smear campaign against you. Nobody can see it. Nobody knows where it's at. It's invisible to the naked eye, but somehow it happened.
Yet Blake's team keeps clinging to a few stolen text messages like they're holding Watergate evidence. These texts, illegally obtained and leaked into court records on March 27, 2020, show nothing but vague chatter about maybe running reputation management if needed. One message literally says, "We could manage this if needed. No plans, no money, no actual move."
This is going to go to deposition. This is going to go to trial. So all of this, these lies and these smears that you continue to do against Justin Baldoni, everyone's going to find out.
Legal experts pointed out that in U.S. defamation law, intent alone doesn't get you a win. You can talk about robbing a bank all day, but unless you actually grab a ski mask and a bag, it doesn't count. And so far, Blake's whole case against Jed Wallace looks about as real as her hair care, before and after photos.
This convoluted statement makes it abundantly clear that Miss Lively and team are rattled and once again resorting to making inflammatory remarks to steer focus away from the actual facts.
While Blake's lawyers are still trying to sell this big, scary story about a secret online army, the court filings tell a different tale. One where Jed's biggest crime was sitting quietly, scrolling Reddit, and minding his business. The hypocrisy could not be more obvious if they put it on a billboard. Blake and Ryan were quietly trying to wreck Justin's career behind the scenes and then turned around acting like wounded little angels when the internet didn't buy their act. By trying to turn a weak, messy case into some self-righteous crusade, Blake didn't just blow up her lawsuit. She nuked her own public image in the process. And now the receipts are sitting in an open court, stacked taller than her hair in that disaster of a trailer. But what happens next is anyone's guess. So drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm ready for the chaos.